You know that moment when you turn off the lights and your bedroom suddenly becomes a horror movie set? 5 seconds ago, it was normal. There was a chair, a hoodie, a laundry pile you absolutely promised yourself you would deal with. Then the lights go off, and suddenly that hoodie is standing in the corner like it pays rent. So you do the very modern thing. You reach for your phone, flashlight on, instant courage. Because apparently the same species that invented rockets, surgery, and tiny computers full of cat videos cannot walk to the bathroom at 2 a.m. without a glowing rectangle. Now take the phone away, take away the light switch, take away street lamps, doors, locks, curtains, electric grids, and every tiny nightlight pretending to be for the hallway. Now you're standing in total darkness. No walls, no flashlight, no Google Maps, just you, the cold ground, and something moving in the bushes. And suddenly, the question gets a lot older. Why are humans so afraid of the dark? Afraid. Because for most of human history, darkness was not just less visibility. Darkness was the moment the world stopped giving you information. And for an animal that survives by noticing things, that is a nightmare. Imagine being one of our ancient ancestors. The sun drops, the temperature falls, the trees stop looking like trees and start looking like shapes. You hear a snap, then silence, then another snap. Your eyes are trying their best, but they are not exactly high-definition security cameras. You cannot tell if that sound is a branch, a hyena, a leopard, or Steve from the next camp looking for berries. And Steve is already weird during daylight, so that does not help. In the day, you can scan the grass. You can spot movement, you can see faces, you can throw a rock and at least know what you are throwing it at. At night, the rules change. Your brain is suddenly working with scraps, a sound, a shadow, a smell, a feeling. And when the brain does not have enough information, it does something incredibly useful and deeply annoying. It guesses, usually badly. That is why darkness feels alive. Your brain is not calmly saying there is insufficient visual data. It is saying that bush is breathing. And from an evolutionary point of view, that makes sense, because the ancestors who heard a noise in the dark and thought, probably nothing, did not always get to become ancestors. The ones who thought, absolutely not, and stayed near the fire had a better chance. Fear of the dark was not weakness. It was a survival setting, like low battery mode, but with more screaming. Here's the first big reason. Humans are daytime animals. We are not built like owls or cats. We do not have giant night vision eyes or reflective layers bouncing light around inside them. Our eyes can handle low light thanks to rod cells, but rods do not give you detail or color. They give you the world in blurry grayscale. Very artistic. Very useless when something with teeth is nearby. So, at night, humans lose one of our greatest powers, sight. And when sight drops, imagination rises. The less you can see, the more your brain starts painting in monsters. But it is not just about vision, it is about predators. For early humans, the night belonged to animals that were much better at it. Lions, leopards, hyenas, basically nature's stealth mode. Humans were not the fastest, we were not the strongest, we did not have claws. Our survival trick was teamwork, tools, planning, and noticing danger before it arrived. Darkness attacked all of that. You cannot coordinate well if you cannot see each other. You cannot aim a spear well if you cannot see what is coming. You cannot read body language, spot a trail, or tell what is coming. So, the dark became a warning sign. Not because darkness itself had claws, but because darkness gave claws a place to hide. That is the second big reason. The dark is not scary because it contains monsters. It is scary because it contains possibilities. And possibilities are where anxiety lives. Your brain would rather invent 100 fake dangers than miss one real one. This is why we jump at shadows. It is why a coat on a chair becomes a demon accountant. It is why a normal house noise at noon is just the fridge, but the same noise at midnight is clearly a Victorian ghost with unresolved paperwork. The brain is biased toward caution, especially in the dark, because a false alarm costs you a little embarrassment. A missed alarm could cost you everything. But here's the twist. Ancient humans were not helpless little panic potatoes waiting for sunrise. They fought back, and their greatest weapon against the dark was not bravery, it was fire. Fire changed everything. It gave light, it gave heat, it kept some predators away, it cooked food, it created a center, a safe circle in a world of black edges. And that circle did something else. It turned night into story time. Around fire, humans could talk, warn each other, teach children, explain which sounds mattered and which ones did not. Do not go near the river at night. Do not eat that plant. Do not wander off alone. Do not trust Steve. Stories were not just entertainment. They were survival instructions, with drama added so your brain would actually remember them. Because avoid predators after sunset is boring, but your uncle wandered off after dark and something screamed from the trees is unforgettable. That is the strange, smart part. Humans did not defeat the dark by pretending it was safe. They defeated it by building little islands of meaning inside it. Fire, groups, myths, rules, songs, stories. We made the dark smaller. We gave it names, and once something has a name, it becomes a little less infinite. But the fear never disappeared. It just moved indoors. Today, most of us are not being stalked by leopards on the way to the kitchen. Probably. But our brains did not get the software update. Modern life changed faster than evolution. Your apartment is safe. Your hallway is safe. Your blanket is not a force field, even though emotionally it absolutely is. But the old brain still wakes up at 3 a.m. and says, visibility is low. This is suspicious. That is why children are afraid of monsters under the bed. Not because they are silly, because their brains are doing ancient math. Dark space plus unknown sound plus limited escape route equals problem. And adults do it too. We just use more mature language. I felt a weird energy in that room. No, you saw a shadow and your caveman brain filed a report. So maybe humans are not really afraid of the dark. Maybe we're afraid of not knowing. The dark is just the oldest version of uncertainty. It is the blank space where the brain writes danger in big red letters. And in a weird way, that fear is proof of how hard your ancestors fought to keep you alive. Every time you sprint from the light switch to your bed, like an Olympic athlete in pajamas, you are not being ridiculous. Well, you are a little ridiculous. But you are also carrying an ancient alarm system, one built in caves, forests, grasslands, and nights where the wrong sound could matter. So, the next time your room goes dark and that hoodie in the corner starts looking suspicious, remember this. Your fear is not weakness. It is inheritance. A tiny echo from every human who sat beside a fire, stared into the black, and listened carefully. Because somewhere deep inside us, we still know the truth. The dark was never empty. It was unknown. And the unknown has always been where humans begin to imagine monsters.